Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Leddy. Yo, welcome to So Serious Gaming. And dude, if anybody tells you that Alpha Bridge is dead, tell them to shut their mouth. No, it's not. Nah, seriously though, it's really not. Like, the way that it used to work was, provided you met the requirements, you got the 3 talents on your secondary weapon to use on your primary weapon. It doesn't work that way anymore. You no longer need to meet the requirements for any of your talents, and it will only add the 4th talent from your secondary weapon. So as you can see here, if you look at my firearms number, 3,832. Now the only talent I meet the requirements for is Vicious, and that is only just. But Responsive, I definitely don't meet the requirements for that, but it's still unlocked because the way of Alpha Bridge works. And as you can see, I only have 1 talent from my secondary, even though they're all active. So that's the way that it works now, and it's awesome because it now means I could spec into skill power and have a hard hitting Seeker mine and a really strong heal, but I still have damage output. My base damage is relatively low because of my low firearms, but I've got things like Responsive, Vicious, Brutal. I would prefer to have had Deadly for or something like that, and Unforgiving. When I start to lose health, I'm going to be hitting harder, so it's really nice. And the MP5 I currently have on here is 21% crit chance. Now at the end of this video, sorry, I have a little manhunt piece of footage for you. I was using the MP7 there. I actually got this MP5 after we'd been playing, and I've not had a chance to try the MP5 out yet. I've just set it up. So the MP7 that I was using is this one, which you can see the difference. You know, I mean, this is Deadly, Responsive, and Vicious, which is kind of what I would have liked to set up on my MP5 to be. But you know, it's cool. I've still got the high crit chance roll, and I've got a high damage roll, and it just does more damage in general. So I want to try this out. The mods that I have, I'll just show them up quickly. Magazine size, crit chance, rate of fire on the magazine, small optics with crit damage, headshot damage, and accuracy. Now I did have, I believe, crit chance on there, but I switched it out for crit damage just because I don't need to max my crit chance out, because we've always got a pulse up which will do that for us anyway. So going for crit damage, and even then I'm at 50% crit chance, so 50% of my hits are crit hits. So trying to increase that damage as much as possible just makes sense. The muzzle is crit chance, headshot damage, and crit damage. And the underbarrel is crit damage, optimal range, and reload speed. The pistol, for anybody that's interested, is a 9.3R with expert and harmful, and just crit chance, crit damage, headshot damage on the suppressor as well. As you probably guessed, I'm running a Barrett's chest piece. I'm running it mainly because of the no skills on cooldown increases skill power by 10%. The first skill I'm going to be using is the Seeker mine, so it makes sense to run Barrett's for that extra skill power. I would ideally wanted a better firearms roll on there. It is pretty low, but you know, I needed to roll health. I can't remember what the stat was, but this was the first one that I received. This was the very first one that I received. So I wouldn't mind like a better one with a better firearms roll. Still, the armor roll's nice. The health roll on it was pretty nice as well. Enemy armor damage. I would want the increased kill XP changing out, probably for ammo capacity. But it works for now. It does its job, and I can't complain too much. The mods I'm running are both stamina mods. I have one with skill haste and one with health. I could go with health where the skill haste is, but it didn't make much of a difference, to be honest with you. The skill haste is just going to help my skills cool down that little bit faster. The mask, I need a better armor roll. It's a really, really low armor roll on the mask, but it's the best one that I've had so far. I've rolled electronics on it, and it's a really high roll of electronics as well. If I was to get really lucky and get one that dropped with a good electronics roll, I would roll that crit chance out and put skill power on there, because I mainly want to focus on skill power, so that's the reason I would do that. But you can go with crit chance, you can go with health, you could go with enemy armor damage, whatever you prefer. but that's what I'd want to do with it. The knee pads are again rolled with electronics, and again they've got a good electronics roll. In an ideal world, that EDR would have been out for health, but you know, it's neither here nor there. Then I've got shock resistance and bleed resistance, and damage to elites I would prefer to have been bleed resistance, but again, it is what it is. I had to roll electronics on there, so. And again, stamina mod with health, and I'm running a 4% Seeker Mine damage mod on there. The holster is a pretty nice holster. It came with a decent health roll on it. The stamina and electronics rolls are both pretty good. The firearms roll was absolutely terrible. It was like, damn, it was rock bottom. Like, yeah, it just sucked. So I rolled that for as high as possible, and I came pretty close to getting maxed out on it, so I'm happy with that. And the performance mod, again, is 4% Seeker Mine damage. The Alpha Bridge gloves, again, I need a better armor roll on these. The armor's pretty down low. And I rolled for electronics. I may try roll it up a bit more, but it won't make a huge difference. And, of course, SMG damage, crit chance, and crit damage on there for the attributes. And I'm sure you figured it out already. I'm running a specialised backpack for that extra skill power, and I'm running a stamina roll on this one. I rolled skill power on it. You could put health if you wanted, but again, I wanted to roll for skill power because that's mainly what I'm focusing on with this build. And ammo capacity, you want ammo capacity ideally on your backpack and your vest, because it's just going to keep you in the fight for a lot longer. It's as simple as that, really. And then I'm running an electronics mod. I could have run stamina mod, but I'll run electronics with a good health roll on there. And, it gives me as much skill power as possible, and it gives me a bit of an extra health pool. And then I'm running 2 Seeker Mine mods. I've solely focused on nothing but Seeker Mine mods with this. So we'll have a look at my character sheet when I get my MP5 back up. So the weapon damage is 15,775, so it's not super high, but again I'm running responsive on there. We also have a sentry build player who's using an MDR, and he stacks like crazy for us, and it worked out so nice, and he compensated my low damage output nicely when he was stacking them with these sentries, so it's really helpful. And it's a really good squad composition as well, because I have low firearms, so my initial damage output is relatively low. Responsive gives me a bit of a damage increase when I'm close range. Then his sentry stack gives me another damage increase. But because I'm using the Seeker Mine, when my Seeker Mine sets them on fire, because they're now under a status effect, the MDR gives him an 18% damage increase on players that are under a status effect. So he's giving me a damage buff, and if I set them on fire, he gets a damage buff. So he's complementing my build, I'm complementing his build, and it just worked so nice. The crit chance is 50%, the crit damage is 81%, and headshot damage is 74%. Ideally, like I said, I would have preferred to roll out brutal for deadly, so that would probably be like 96% or something like that, I think. But it is what it is. With the face tanking and everybody ADSing a lot more now, headshots are going to be a lot easier to hit, especially with something as stable as, say, like an MP5 or something like that. Enemy armor damage is only 5%. You don't need to worry too much about enemy armor damage, you really don't. Because the armor's so low on the armor rolls are so low on players now. People are only pushing sort of 33% damage mitigation. It's not a huge deal anymore. So I don't think it's needed personally, but that's just my opinion. 2,309,457 skill power, 3% skill haste. It's not much, but it's going to help. That's the way you got to look at it. 325,100 toughness. 220,999 is my maximum health pool, and my armor mitigates 32.2% weapon damage. If I could get better rolls on my mask and my gloves, that would be up, I believe, closer to 34%. So that would be handy. It's not going to make a huge deal, but it's going to give me that little bit more survivability, so I wouldn't mind it. Exotic damage resilience is only 7%, 31% bleed resistance, blind death resistance is 14%. I would prefer more burn resistance, but you know, ideally we're not going to keep them alive long enough for them to burn us, so that's the plan anyway. So let's take a look at the skills I'm using. So I'm currently using Overdose just because of the overheal, but I may give Booster Shot a try. Even though the damage resistance is quite low, I get a smaller heal compared to my Overdose. As you can see, 125,047, whereas Overdose gives me over 200,000 health, so that's damn near my full health pool based off of overheal. But that doesn't give me it. However, it gives my teammates a bigger heal than it gives them with Overdose, and they get the damage resistance as well. So I may give that a try, and it has a slower cooldown, so that's something I may try out and see if it is still worth using after the nerf that they did to the damage resistance on it. And of course I'm using the Seeker Mine. Now I'm running the Airburst Seeker Mine. As you can see, 107,505 is the explosion damage, and it takes about 31 seconds to cool down. The standard Seeker Mine, as you can see, 322,516 damage, and I found it missed more of the time. Like, it would explode, but it wouldn't hit them. So, excuse me, they wouldn't be taking any damage. So I put the airburst on, and it hurts, man. It hits hard. It was taking off on average half health, sometimes 3/4 health, depending on what their health pool is. And it really, really hurts. And as I say, it gave our sentry player that good damage buff, and he was giving me a good damage buff as well for my SMG, so I could still get up in their faces and do what I needed to do. Now, when you're in a squad, you want to run triage, obviously, so every time you chuck a heal on the floor, your 3 teammates run through it. You know, that's going to give you some cooldown. It's going to get your skills to cool down a lot quicker. Now, if you're not running in a team, I recommend running Strike Back instead of triage. Reach low health to reduce active skill cooldowns by 20%. And again, when you're in need of them, that's going to help to reduce the cooldowns on your skills, so you've got more chance of surviving. Now, if you've had the issue where you're using medkits and you're not getting an initial health boost, it just gradually refills, or it doesn't refill at all because you're just taking too much damage, go into your talents and take away adrenaline. Medkit now heals over 10 seconds and will not stop healing when taking damage. This does not give you an initial increase in health. Basically, when you use it, it will give you a gradual heal over 10 seconds. And it won't stop healing you when you're taking damage. The only problem is, if you're taking damage faster than it can give you the heal, your health is still going to go down. So you're not going to benefit from using the medkit. And that also rendered critical save useless. So take that off, and you will get some health when you use a medkit. And then you can use critical save, and of course you're going to get that little bit of damage resistance from critical save. And on the move is still worth using, so I still use on the move, and I'm currently using chain reaction for when I use the grenades, and I believe it helps with the explosion of the airburst as well. I could be wrong though, I'm not sure, but you could easily run wildfire, you could run strike back, you could run precision. If, because you're using Alpha Bridge, you're running, say, the bullfrog as your main weapon, you could run steady hands, so you don't have to stack stability mods. And when you're bouncing cover, you get 25% reduction in recoil for 10 seconds. You could use One Is None. You could use... There's multiple things you could use. You could use Tactical Advance. You know, there's various things that you could use for the talents, depending on what you want to do. But that's how I've got it set up at the moment. Again, with all the changes, I'm still in the process of testing out how different talents work, how nerfs have affected talents, all that kind of stuff. So these could be subject to change, but that's how I've got them set up for the time being. So yeah, overall, like this build is just so much fun. Like I say, The base damage is not super high. It's more focused on skill power. But because of the sentry stack on my team, the squad composition we had, I can still hit hard with my SMG, and my Seeker mine is going to cause them some serious issues. And when it sets them on fire, you know, I'm giving one of my players a nice damage buff to his already hard hitting MDR, because his MDR, I think he's got like 7,000 firearms on it, so you know he's hitting pretty hard. And when he's stacking, he's getting his own little damage buff from stacking. And obviously, if I set them on fire as well, that's another 18% damage for him. And he's giving me, was it like 15% extra damage on top of, you know, on top of what I'm already dealing. And if I'm close enough for responsive to activate as well, I'm going to be hitting them pretty hard, and I do hit them pretty hard. So, you know, it's now, the way that I see Alpha Bridge now is more versatile. It used to be solely DPS, like it was just a flat out, you know, purebred DPS build. The way I see it now is it's a versatile build, because you don't need to meet the requirements to unlock talents. So you could do things like, you could have a DPS build, but you could have, say, skill-based talents to, you know, to increase how effective your skills are, but your raw damage output is perhaps, you know, pretty damn hard kind of thing. Or you could do where I've gone, where you're focusing on skill power, but you've got damage-based talents to compensate your low firearms, so you're still putting out a good amount of damage and hitting pretty hard. So Alpha Bridge is not dead, and if anybody tells you it is, they're so wrong. Believe you me, they are so wrong. I had so much fun with this build last night. It's not even funny, man. I had so much fun. You guys know how much I enjoy using my high-end build, and straight up, no lie, this I had so much more fun with. It was just so cool, and the squad composition we had going on, it just fit in perfectly with how we were set up, and yeah, it was just so awesome. So I'm going to flip over to some gameplay, guys. Like I say, I was using the MP7 last night because I didn't have this MP5 at that time, but it still gives you an idea of how effective this build can be, how you can use it, how it fits into a squad and that kind of stuff. We did only run into like 1 or 2 teams last night in the DZ. The DZ's pretty dead at the minute due to last stand and things like that. So, in fact, before I do that, let me just show you the medkit. I'll show you how the medkit works. If it'll let me die, let me get my health down. Right, so I pop a medkit. It gives me it gave me health straight away. There's none of that like delayed health stuff. So it's just take adrenaline off and your medkit works normally again. So yeah, I'm going to flip it over to the gameplay, guys. Let you guys check out the build in action so you can see how it functions as part of a team. And yeah, if you've got an Alpha Bridge build, or if you want to try this out, or if you do try it out, comment below. Let me know how you're getting on. Let me know, you know, what you're using, how you're using it, things like that. If you enjoyed the video, if you found it helpful, hit that thumbs up. That helps me out so much, guys, and it's always appreciated. If you're new to the channel, you want to see more awesome builds, awesome gameplays, things like that, I live stream as well. I've not live streamed for a little bit because I've kind of been going through the transition of improving my setup and things like that. So, but I do a live stream, and I am planning on doing weekly live streams, probably twice a week. So subscribe if you want to see more of that. So yeah, enjoy the gameplay, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you in another video. Peace out.
You've disavowed an evasion. This action will mark you as rogue. division affiliation has been disavowed. You are now marked as rogue.
Set it up. Get me covered. Oh, God!
Disavowed the division. Your team is now designated rogue. Supply drops will expire in 30 seconds. Member of your team disavowed a division. Your team is now marked rogue. Warning. You've disavowed a division. This action will mark you as rogue. Alert. Member of your team has disavowed division affiliation. The team will be marked rogue. Warning. Your division affiliate disavowed. You are now marked as rogue. Alert. A team member has disavowed a division. Your team is now designated as rogue. Warning. You've disavowed a division. Now marked as rogue. Alert. A member of your team disavowed a division. Your team is now marked rogue. Warning. Your division affiliation has been disavowed. You are now marked as rogue. Alert. A team member has disavowed a division. Your team is now designated rogue. Warning. You've disavowed a division. This action will mark you as rogue. Alert. A member of your team has disavowed division affiliation. Your team will be marked rogue. Warning. You are now entering a contaminated area. Alert. A team member has disavowed a division. Your team is now designated rogue. Warning. You've disavowed a division. This action will mark you as rogue. Alert. A member of your team has disavowed division affiliation. The team will be marked rogue.
Cover me! Gotta clean this.